Joy asks, what social media techniques do you think work best for promoting a book?
Joy, I was excited about answering this question because I was going to go tactical, but then Steve reminded me that I've answered this a bunch in the past, and I want to give that context too because he's right, and I wouldn't have answered it, so kudos to Steve for making the show better. When selling a book, you need to be selling it months and years in advance. I am actively right now selling the Ask Gary Vee book. Let me explain. I'm putting out content and I'm jabbing and I'm building an audience and I'm building a lot of new fans. As a matter of fact, question of the day, going right into it. How long have you been following my work? Please leave that in the comments. Podcast people, jump out of the earphones and jump onto the keyboard and go to YouTube and answer this question because I want a lot of people in the Vayner Nation to see how many people are only 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in because this show is getting virality, bringing people in, and then thus creating a scenario where I was just thinking about what's the scenario? Got excited. Anyway, creating a scenario where I'm bringing value up front. I'm not charging for this. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not trying to make a gateway to a product. No, I'm just building leverage. And then when I launch in early 2016 the Ask Gary Vee book, which is probably going to be 100 to 200 of these questions that I've done over the last year or two, if I can get that far. That was a little bit of a gateway drug preview to how many episodes I'm expecting to do. And 2, a bunch of new questions, and 3, this kind of cool idea I have. A lot of people here who've watched every show don't really need to buy the book, right? I mean, you've consumed it, but at 18 bucks or 22 bucks, they will, because I've guilted them into it, because I've provided so much of value. And so number 1, you need to provide value up front before you ever sell your book. Let me get into some tactics. One-on-one marketing. One of the biggest mistakes so many authors make is they send out a bulk email, and it usually says this: hey guys, I never normally do this. I mean, that's my favorite. You like that, Zach? I never normally do this, but I have a book coming out next Wednesday. It would mean the world to me. Why? They want to be efficient. People want to scale. What I did last August was I went to Connecticut with my family and I one by one wrote emails to people that I wanted to help. Alex in 12 years. Alex, hey, remember, I really gave you a break in your career. You know, we're great buddies. Hey, nice job last week. I'd really appreciate your help on this book. Can I count on you? And I basically went one by one and scaled the unscalable. And what it created was a landfall of a lot of opportunity. The other thing is you have to assess the market of exposure. That year, August last year, the podcasting was really starting to happen, right? And so I wanted to really focus on that. So I went and I did a ton of interviews with all the emerging podcast people because I knew that was the arbitrage. And what I mean by the arbitrage was a place where you would get bigger return on your investment than other places based on its exposure. So whereas 3 years ago I'd want to be in the HuffPost and guest blog post, that played itself out because Forbes opened it up and a lot of other people did that move, but the podcasting was starting to grow. And now there's so many more podcasts, so much more competition for those earbuds that it's changed a little bit. It's not as valuable to be a guest as it was a year ago because of the game, unless a certain podcast over-indexed and there's more. And you keep playing this. So it's really tactical stuff like that, but it's really about scaling the unscalable. The truth is you've got to get to somebody's emotion, right? So that it goes from heart to brain to wallet, right? Heart to brain to wallet. Oh, I like that. That could be a really nice picture. Let's maybe a t-shirt. Heart, can you make a t-shirt? Anyway, heart to brain to wallet is kind of the way I think about selling books. First you gotta get them emotional, then you gotta make them think there's a value prop and you've gotta storytell to them why they should buy your book, what's in it for them above the fact that they feel that they owe you, and then that's when they start pulling out their wallet. And so I do that one by one, and when I do interviews, one of the things if you go back and listen to all the podcasts, Lewis Howes, Pat Flynn, JLD, any of those people, when I was doing those interviews, I barely mentioned the book. As a matter of fact, when they asked me questions of the book because they were good guys and they wanted to get me exposure, I'd walk away from it because the only thing I wanted to do in those 30 minutes was provide as much value for that audience as possible because that's the first step, the heart.